Yo,
Hey, welcome to the new meta, episode 99.
9999.
9999. Big one hundo next week.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Is there any approval on the thing that we talked about, or?
Yeah, I meant to talk about the thing we talked about. So remind me to talk about the thing after the pod.
Well,
Let's talk about
how can we announce it?
we'll talk about that after the thing.
All right, all right.
You got it. So, welcome. Thanks
Yeah,
for coming and listening and hanging out with the pod. You want to jump straight into the polls? How's your week going, man? Everything good? I see that you're getting some nice scruff. I actually had to trim my beard up, man. It was getting long.
yeah,
I finally broke the clippers out.
yeah. I mean, it's annoying for sure to have a scruffy ass beard, but yeah, it's my quarantine beard. It's fine. I need a haircut too.
Quarantine.
Like, this is probably the longest my hair has been in a really long time.
I know. I didn't think it actually grew there. So
It's long enough for cornrows. Which,
yeah.
by the way, you taught me something with your cornrows.
Yeah. Okay.
I was like, oh, let's meme on him on Twitter, right? After your stream. And Ron Swanson, when he did the cornrows for the thing,
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty good. And I Googled corn rolls. My whole life, I thought it was corn rolls. Like,
You thought it was rolls?
yes.
Like ROLL? You
Yeah.
idiot, man.
I am super white. I never knew it was rose, which makes
Right.
sense because, they're rose. But, I always
they're
thought it was
rose.
rolls. I don't know why.
Cool. Well, see, there you go, man. It was an educational thing.
Yeah.
I did it just for you.
Appreciate that. So, thank you.
Just to teach you.
The more you know.
The more you know. Let's
But
hit
yeah.
our polls up from next week, and then we'll
Let's
talk
do it.
about the things.
Last week.
Lots of juice tonight.
I know, man. It's nutty. It's actually nutty. We have all the Diablos to talk about, literally. And then
Yep.
we actually have some really juicy POE stuff. We don't cover, we cover a lot of POE, but there's some pretty controversial stuff happening in POE right now. So
Okay.
excited to talk about that too. But yeah,
Can't wait to get into it.
yeah. Last week we asked, okay, in Diablo 4, where should the majority of our demonic, ancestral, and angelic power come from? And I tried to explain it the best I could. There were some complaints on the YouTube. People didn't understand what this even meant, but I thought I set it up pretty well. But basically, if you've been living under a rock, in Diablo 4 Itemization 2.0 update, they talked about these demonic, ancestral, and angelic powers. And basically, there's going to be a threshold on your gear of say, 15 dexterity will be locked behind, 50 angelic power or something like that. And you just get angelic power from your gear. We know that it comes from gear. But the question is, where should the majority come from? So the options were gear, nodes in a passive skill tree like Path of Exile, an XP grind past max level like Paragon, or allocated points as you level like Diablo 2, where you get strength or Vite or whatever every single time you level. Spam that and chat real quick. You guys can vote. What do you think? One, and what do you think personally?
Oh man. I don't know what one. That'll be hard. I think people are gonna say allocated points as you level like D2. I think that one, if I were to pick, it's hard for me to choose between. I would lean, I think, more towards the PoE nodes in a passive tree style. But it also depends on how they do the passive tree.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's assuming there's a nice juicy passive tree like PoE is not a
What
skill
if it's
twig.
a skill twig? Yeah. What if it's a skill?
Yeah, if it's a skill twig, then shit, man. Then no, then not passive tree. Then I would say if it's skill twig, it would have to be gear, I guess, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just assume skill tree, a big juicy tree. I would say nodes in a passive tree or gear. I think a combination of the two, honestly, would be.
Do you think? Okay, I know that angelic, ancestral, and demonic power, they actually give inherent things, right? Like the demonic was more damage over time, angelic was more healing and stuff like that. But do you think that that's exciting to give more of that stat on gear? it takes up one of your affix slots, basically.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I don't like the system at all. I think it's it could be implemented in a way that could be awesome. You know, maybe I'm overlooking something, or maybe in actual practice it's more fun than it seems. But on paper, to me, it seems like you're adding another stat. It could be cooldown, crit, hit, whatever stat you want to throw on there.
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, this stat's now a gate to get another stat. So it's like a fake stat, that maybe has some pass. It's like an example I can relate to is like mastery, for example, in World of Warcraft. So like mastery gives every class something different, depending on what spec you are and what you're doing.
Mhm.
And like in all reality, you don't give a shit about it. You don't stack it unless your class stacks it.
Yeah.
Like you're going to go out to fucking Icy Veins or Wowhead or one of the websites, and you're going to type in your class, and you're going to look at your build that you want to follow. And your build's going to say, here's your stat priorities. It's going to be intellect,
Right.
crit, mastery, vitality. And you're like,
Mhm.
okay, cool. So that's the order of shit that I'm going to go for. And so ultimately that's what'll happen in D4, because regardless of what they do, there's always meta builds. POE has it, every game has it. And you're going to follow a guide, which is going to tell you exactly what stats you want to get, or vice versa. So I don't think it's a super interesting stat in general to lock things behind another stat. I would rather see it, if it were in a skill tree, then at least you have to make decisions on like, okay, I want this. It's not affecting my gear. This is my passives that I choose, and my skill tree are going to make a difference on the way I play the game. Hopefully.
Yeah.
But I still don't think it. I don't know. I'm still not sold on it yet. We got to see more of it.
Yeah.
So.
I don't necessarily like gear because I think that it fills up an affix with something that's not very exciting. So, and I was thinking about this the other day, is like, man, when I make my Diablo guides, it's like, okay, crit damage, cooldown reduction, intelligence, crit damage, cooldown reduction, like on every piece, right? Like, and it kind of feels like a meme as I'm saying it out loud. Whereas then, like, when I make the Path of Exile guides, it's like every piece is like very, very different, and they're like, this is what you're after here. And so, I mean, I do appreciate that a lot. So I'd hate to be like, oh, okay, well, you're demonic, so every piece, literally every piece of gear you want demonic power on, like that kind of thing. So, I don't want to say gear. Allocated points as you level. I do think that there's something there, like if they're locked in, but Blizzard would never probably do that ever again.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd probably be able to respec, right? Yeah.
To fix it. You're like, man, I went all demonic and I want an angel build. I gotta re-roll. Like,
Yeah.
But it depends on the leveling process. Like re-rolling in Diablo 3 is like 2 minutes.
True.
You know what I mean?
Also true.
So if it's let's say it takes 2 weeks till max level. Like let's say it's like crazy playtime, right? That's a decision. That's a choice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Nodes on a passive tree would obviously be like probably my favorite, but again, that's like in my brain, I'm thinking about Path of Exile skill tree, not a Diablo 4 skill twig, where it's like you have 2 routes. Do
you think they're gonna fix that skill twig? I don't think that goes live.
I don't know, man.
Dude, it's so shallow.
I feel like they've already confined themselves to that space that they talked about with the couch co-op. Like, so it can't really like be broader than that, like 4x10 square or something. I don't know.
But they could have a pop-up that takes the screen.
Sure. I mean, console, like you scroll and it doesn't, on PoE console, like it's not great, but I don't know either. An XP grind past max level. I mean, there's a lot of disdain associated with Paragon, obviously. This is why, you and I have talked 1,000 times about how it's dangerous to have Diablo 4 resemble Diablo 3, because there's just like so much negativity around it. But I do like, I don't know, like, so you've been playing World of Warcraft more, and World of Warcraft has gone back and forth on that. What's it called? And it starts with an A, something power.
And like your artifact power?
Yeah, artifact power. There it is. So what does that look like now? Is that good now, or does people still hate it? Like, what's going on with that?
Yeah, so they did a catch-up mechanic that basically boosted everybody to a minimum level, and then they kind of increased the catch-up gate. And I think they itemized items better. No, I think it's still shitty personally.
Okay.
But it's not really a factor anymore because they kind of stopped at level 50. It's like you unlock everything at level 50. And then if you make a new character, they boost your character to level 50 in like a couple quests. So you basically have it all unlocked. So then the difference is the pieces of gear you put on have different powers that could be unlocked with the Azurite necklace. And that's the shit part is like for a while it was random on what they would roll. Now they're locked in. It seems like specific pieces off bosses always have the same things. So you can target the traits you want. It's okay, but ultimately it doesn't matter because it's like there are specific ones that outperform all the other ones.
Yeah.
So that's what you want.
Right.
It's like for Demon Hunter, for example, there's one that when you use your eyeball laser beam thing, you get a shitload of haste for 12 seconds. That's the best. You got to get 3 of those on every piece that has Azurite power. That's it. Like there's no other choice. Like that's it. If you don't have that, then your character's shit.
So is that RNG, like getting the 3, or is it
no? Because you can specifically target them.
Yeah,
like specific bosses will drop a piece that has it on there guaranteed.
Yeah.
So you just have to farm those bosses. I mean, you got to get lucky to get the drop, I guess.
Right. Sure. But yeah.
So that's not a good. That specific mechanic in WoW is not good, but they've made it more manageable.
I mean, I definitely hear people complain about it less now, but I don't know if that's because
it's just not as relevant.
Playing. Yeah,
it's just not as relevant as it used to be. So I think that'll probably be gone in Shadowlands. I don't know. But if you convert that to something for D4 talks, like could they put an angelic or demonic powers on pieces of gear? So that would kind of be like an Azurite trait. Okay, you have to have so much Azurite power is the necklace in WoW. So you had to have Azurite power to unlock the trait on the item. In Diablo 4, it could be you had to have angelic power or demonic power to unlock the trait on the item. It's still a very similar system.
Right.
And then so the item would have to drop with the angelic or demonic thing that you wanted, which is part of the RNG. And then you'd have to have the amount of angelic or demonic to unlock it to make it work. So it still feels very same-ish.
Yeah. Does the Azurite power grind at least feel good? Like, does it feel fun, or is it just like something happens?
It's passive now. You don't even think about it. Like now, now it's just like you get everything at 50. So like mine's like 84 or something. So like you get everything at 50. It's not even a factor anymore. So now it's just upping the item level of my necklace every time it levels up.
Yeah. Boring.
I don't know, man. And like I said, I've only been playing back for like 2 weeks, and I'm already that high. So I don't know what the hardcores that have been grinding every day. I don't know what theirs is. But, I don't know. We'll hopefully this quarter update. Speaking of the quarter update, that they dropped some news on.
Yeah.
Did you hit? Or let's do the finish the poll. Sorry.
I'll roll with you. Notice the passive tree, assuming they're not steel twigs.
Yeah.
Wow, really split.
Yeah, I thought
holy
Diablo
crap.
2 would win.
This is like
that is pretty
perfectly split. All 4. Wow. Okay,
that's the first. I think that's the first ever.
This is crazy. But yeah, 27% of votes says allocated points as you level, like Diablo 2. 25% of the vote says gear. 24% of the vote says notes and passive tree, and 24% also says XP grind past max level. Wow. So looks like we want them in all the places.
Just put them everywhere. Sprinkle it everywhere.
I don't know. That's crazy.
I don't know, man.
I've never seen a multi-option poll be that split.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Anyways, but the question for next week was, we super touched on briefly last week, but should Blizzard wait until season 22, which is, if you guys don't know, so next season, the one that's coming up, will be season 21. We're in season 20 right now. So in season 22, which would be the one after this one, should they wait until that season to buff Hydra Wiz? And if you guys don't know, Hydra Wiz is the new wizard set that just missed the mark. Like, it's not good, it's not super fun, and no one's playing it. So feels bad to get a new thing, but then it's like garbage, so no one plays it anyways.
And I think the thought process behind the question, at least in my eyes, is if they buff Hydra Wizard, it would overshadow DH and Necro a little bit, potentially. Kind of like Witch Doctor overshadowed Barbarian and Hydra this season. So
yeah. Well, stop talking about it because it's next week's poll. You big jerk.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just explaining the
I know,
thought process so they can make their choice.
But yeah, let me actually bring up the poll on the other monitor. Not to keep going back and forth. But man, oh man, the news team. This was insane. As I was putting it together, my mouth was watering the schedule because there's so much stuff. Okay, so we have some confirmation. I don't know. We don't know if it's from Adam because we don't have insight on like anytime, Diablo tweets. It could be a variety of different people apparently. So we don't know if that's from Adam, but someone asked on Twitter, do you know when we can expect the next quarterly update for Diablo 4? The thirst is real. We talking end of May or end of June? Thanks. And so Diablo replied, we're aiming for the end of June. So we're not going to get anything probably for Diablo 4 news-wise until the end of June, which is a long time. It's a month and a half away.
Ever, dude. When does quarter 2 end?
That would be June, right? Yeah, end of June.
Yeah.
So they're just going to sneak it in right at
they're going to
end.
They're going to be like, well, we promised quarterly updates. Yeah. Let's go ahead and like the last day of the quarter.
They're all over the place, man, because they said, we're like, well, we're not going to drop one big thing per quarter. And then they're like, oh, yeah, you'll get one this quarter. So,
yeah.
But I'm sure that has to do with
June 30th. Yeah. So does it say, yeah, it's
end of June.
End of June. So June 30th is the end of quarter 2. So,
yeah. So I'm sure it has something to do with the
fun dream. It was a fun dream that they had.
Yeah. God, it was so exciting though to get so much juice.
To think
post BlizzCon and then to get you baited again, right? Like someone posted on our YouTube, like, I can't believe you guys fell for it again. Like you actually thought Blizzard was going to be like communicative and.
Yeah, I did, man.
Yeah, we fell
after
for
BlizzCon, dude, and then you had. Matt was all over the forums.
Yeah, Matt was insane.
Like, God damn, he was going crazy for a couple weeks there. It was like
wicked
he was
hot.
replying to everybody. Yeah, wicked hot. You got. We should do the 100th episode. You should just talk in a Boston accent the whole time.
Yeah, touchdown to him.
Yeah, yeah. So
for sure. But yeah, okay. That's super interesting. And again, we don't know if this is at all related to the CM, being swapped out, and there's probably some lag there.
The weird thing to me is that people in the know are like, at Diablo, got any insight? Like, what's the holdup? Like, I don't understand. Are they just playing it off, or who's the gatekeeper on what? Who decides what you can and can't drop? I wonder in development. Is it the game director for Diablo 4? Is it that dude that they hired from what game did he come from? Gears of War 5 or whatever. Yeah. So is it that guy? Is it the marketing president or whatever? Whoever's in charge of marketing? Is it Matt? Is it? I don't know, man. Just who's in charge? I want to know.
Yeah, it's. Yeah, I wonder how much Red's like, because like the last one, I guess is a little controversial because they did talk about the couch co-op, which like was kind of a red flag for a lot of people. They kind of stopped talking about itemization, which again we know why, because like you don't want to just talk about itemization the whole time. But at the same time, it was like it wasn't really quite there for most people. Still,
I mean, goddamn, itemization is like probably one of the most important things. That should be the thing they're talking about. Like should be talked about in everyone ever, and then there should be like filler, like check out this artwork or check out this couch co-op or
or a caveat that says, hey, we don't want to talk about itemization the whole time, so we're gonna come back to that and we're gonna talk about all this stuff, right? Like that.
Yeah,
probably makes a little more sense.
Okay, you just talk about it anyway,
right? But yeah, like there's still so many questions that like we don't know much about PvP still. Like it'd be cool to see some posts about that.
Yeah, that would be baller.
Character depth, character customization, those skill twigs, all of that stuff. But of course, we would love to see itemization talked about again at the end of the day. Because on that couch co-op UI, the ancestral, demonic, angelic, like that was in there, like on the character sheet, and I was like, ugh, I hope that doesn't mean they're like going forward with that.
Oh, I think they are. Yeah, I think they had already gone forward with it before they even released the stuff to us.
I concur. But
I don't think this is as much as a discussion as we're supposed to believe it is. I feel like it's more of a window into what they're doing.
Right.
And then if people freak out really hard, they might be like, well, why? Let's reevaluate maybe. But I don't think it's like a, hey, we're thinking about this. Give us feedback and we'll change it if we get good feedback. I don't know, man. It doesn't feel that way to me.
Yeah.
There's not enough back and forth for it to be a good conversation, you know?
Yeah, I agree. And then like, how do you even funnel the information? Like, what outlets do you rely on? Is it like, you know, the hardcore Reddit audience? Is it streamers? Is it the forums? Is it super casuals? You ask in a survey? Like, I don't even know. Yeah. It'd be interesting to see where they gathered the data.
For sure.
I mean, obviously some of the best data probably comes from BlizzCon and people play the demo and they like give the live feedback or whatever, but
yeah, right. Yeah. There's so many things. Like, I guess right now with Corona, you couldn't really fly people out, but I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It would be scary. It would be scary to demo for people with letting them get a copy on their home system because you don't know what they could do with that footage or leak or share or whatever.
You wouldn't give them
You'd
a
have
copy.
to super trust them.
You just give them like a link, like a ability to log into the platform or whatever. Like, you wouldn't have anything locally, I don't think.
You would have to install local, like example for Diablo 3. Like, you'd still have to have a local executable. You still have to have local files.
Yeah, but it's
to
like
run.
obfuscated.
Unless you let them do like some Google Stadia shit, where you're like remote playing.
Yeah, maybe.
But that would be a horrible experience.
Yeah,
you know.
True. So. But you know, it's funny you bring that up because the next subject is on Blizzard CDN, they just pushed like a project called Project Fenris, which we know from all the Kotaku articles in the past that is in fact Diablo 4. That's the code name for Diablo 4. And so they pushed it up to their CDN, which, I mean, historically that means like either they're going to give it as a demo to somebody or they're going to like have other companies that are working with them like use that. Or just, it could be anything, right? Like it could be like, oh, we're going to have streamers play this version of the demo, like maybe for BlizzCon this year. They're getting it up quick to play test. It could be like anything. But obviously people are freaking out and being like, oh my God, it's going to release soon, which no fucking chance.
Yeah. No. Like, it's like from playing the demo last year, there's no fucking way it's even close. Like, but I think it could be a demo for a virtual BlizzCon-ish thing that they're going to do this year. I don't think there's going to be BlizzCon this year. It's just not going to happen. But they could do some kind of like, hey, we're going to have some Blizzard online thing, event. And if you buy our virtual ticket, you'll get a Diablo 4 demo. I could definitely see that being a thing.
Can you imagine how many tickets they would sell if they did that? Like,
oh yeah,
how many more? That'd be probably pretty nutty.
I mean, I probably wouldn't buy it without. And I guaranteed would if they had the D4 demo in there. Like, it's not a question that I would buy the ticket with D4 demo. Without it, I would have to be like, man, can I see the schedule first? Or, Fluff, you want to go halves on one and we'll just like share it or some shit, So, but with D4 demo, that's all you would do. You just play the demo the whole time.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I mean, I hope that if they did this, like where they gave the demo out, I'd hope they like wait until after BlizzCon and be like, oh, if you had a virtual pass, then you get access to it for like maybe a week after BlizzCon or something like that. So that there's still that attention and excitement around people watching like all the live things and stuff like that.
Yeah. They did that with World of Warcraft Classic after 2 BlizzCons ago. I don't remember which one now. But when I came home, I played Classic then. I tried the demo for a little bit. Sucked. So stopped.
Right.
It would be, it'd be interesting to get the demo. So when I did, I got to do alpha for, what's the name of the game? Anthem, the game that like totally sucked. That was hopefully going to be good. I got to play Anthem several times in alpha, and a couple of them were like they couldn't stream it. It was just like you could play it, can't stream it, can't make YouTube content, whatever. We just want some honest feedback, blah blah blah. So in that demo, it would flash my username because they made me register it to my Uplay account, And so it would say ThaPChild like all over the demo. Like as I'm flying around, they would like watermark it all over with ThaPChild all over the screen.
Wow.
So if I leaked footage out, like they knew.
Right.
like we know who did it. And like they're gonna pretty much ban your account and lose all your shit. I'm like, I don't think you can legally kill my licenses to other games for leaking that, but it's not worth trying. So I would be interesting to see if Diablo did something like that. You know, that's another option they could do. Maybe it's just like, hey, we're gonna let you give us some feedback on this, but
Yeah,
you'd watermarked Lord Fluffy everywhere, and it would like randomize. So you couldn't just put something over it; it would like randomize it all over the screen. So
yeah. Well, some five head would like screenshot and then like be really good at Photoshop and just put Lord Fluffy all over it, anyways.
you're already thinking of your excuse, like, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
I swear.
But yeah, I mean, it makes me so like sad because like one of the most exciting things about BlizzCon is like going there and then like kind of like tweeting out like kind of the insider information that we're getting, and like it's just an exciting time, and that's probably not going to happen this year, and that on the inside that makes me die a little bit. So
I know
it's sad.
or like getting in trouble for like
saying a word.
Yeah. So I'm like, people tell me stuff sometimes. I don't even report it now because I'm just like, that's not worth burning bridges. You know what I mean? So just like, yep, don't know.
Cool.
Yep.
But yeah, and then biggest news this week, we see the resurgence once again of something we talked about time and time again, and it just keeps resurfacing, and like every news outlet's picking this up, like it's like brand new, and now it's like confirmed, but there's still absolutely zero confirmation to any of it,
man. Well, I will say that I read the IGN article on it.
Okay.
And just like everything else, man, the IGN article, they link back to another. So I guess first what we're talking about is Diablo 2 is being talked about it being remade. And we've been talking about this since BlizzCon 2018 for sure. You and I were like, thought 100% it was going to happen then.
Yep.
But it does make some sense though. And let me break some of this down from what numbers I put together. But it was reportedly leaked by a website called ActU Gaming, and they've leaked things in the past. They have a pretty accurate track record. So the things that they have leaked have been pretty spot on. So that's always a good sign. But Vicarious Visions is reportedly rumored to be making it. And Vicarious Visions made the Warmind X Pack for Destiny 2. So Destiny, Bungie, the developer of Destiny 2, was behind, and Activision Blizzard was like, hey, we got Vicarious Visions. We're going to have them help you. And Bungie was like, cool. They brought them on, and they made the entire Warmind expansion. It was good, man. It was a good expansion. I couldn't tell any quality difference from the shit that Bungie made. It actually was probably better in some ways. They just nailed it, man. They hit it a home run for what they had to work with, I should say. Like, they didn't fix all of Destiny's core problems. That's not their job, but they made a great expansion. That expansion launched in May of 2018. So if their next project after that was to get a Diablo 2 remaster, that could be why the rumors were starting up at, as leading into BlizzCon and other things. How long do you think it would take for them to pump out a remaster? 2 years seems reasonable-ish.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that keeps getting brought up because, David Brevik is, on record of saying like, okay, like that core code is like basically like it was lost at some point, and like you couldn't just like redo it because of how like monsters would like know you were there and stuff like he'd had a whole slew of reasons why like just like a straight up remaster wouldn't work. But
FPS locks as like timings and like all kinds of shit.
But that being said, at the end of the day, Diablo 2, by today's standards, is a very simple game. So would it take that much of an effort to like just redo the thing from the ground up? No. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, 2 years is totally...
a remake or a remaster?
Yeah, that's the other big question.
That's the question, man.
If they don't make it the same as the original, how much will people freak out?
Oh, freak the fuck out. They will lose their minds, dude.
Especially if after following up the Warcraft X bow, like that whole thing, right? Like
it depends on how they market it too, though. Like if they market it as a remaster, that means it's the same game. We just made everything HD and widescreen.
Well, they're saying they're calling it Diablo 2 Resurrected, so that doesn't really indicate one or the other.
Which could be like a remake, in my opinion. That seems to be more of a remake, in my opinion. So if they remake it, then they have liberties, right? Doesn't that entitle them to liberties to the game?
I mean, here goes back to that word. This goes back to the word Final Fantasy VII remake. It sounds like it's just like we're making it on like a recent platform and it's gonna look good, but we're just remaking the game. Like we're copy pasting.
I take remake. No, I take remake to mean reboot.
And see, and I think the same thing about remaster. Remaster to me is like you can do whatever you want. Remakes like we're fucking copy pasting.
See, I think the exact opposite. I think remastered is like we just took your shit and we mastered it at higher res. There you go.
Right. So it's like, and then so Blizzard takes, Blizzard takes like their own vague, they had Reforged, right, with the Warcraft, and now they're gonna have like Resurrected. So I mean, it could be literally anything. But I think that, what's sad to me is, yes, if they don't make it like pound for pound the same game, I do think people would freak out. But me personally, I don't want the same game at all. Like I don't want to go like leave game, remake game, leave game, remake game, like to farm the same map over and over again within like 15 seconds with like a teleport, right? Like I don't want to do a Mephisto run and just like do that into the fucking ground and like leave game. Like I don't want to do any of that from Diablo 2. So God, I hope there's stuff. I honestly think the best play is to have the remake and it's like exactly the fucking same, but then have like adventure mode basically where it's like you do all these new things.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I don't. If it's Diablo 2 with better graphics, like cool. I don't think I'd care that much.
Yeah.
I'd play it once and then be like, all right, that was fun. I played the campaign, cool. Let's go PvP somebody, maybe. All right, cool. They need to do something to it. Like it's, I don't know, man. It goes back to the arguments we had about Final Fantasy VII. Like I was okay with them remaking the game the way they did. I think it tells the story for a new generation. I think Diablo 2 is a 20-year-old game and it plays like a 20-year-old game that was an awesome game 20 years ago. If you remake a 20-year-old mechanics, it's not going to be the same. An example is World of Warcraft Classic. Okay, 15-year-old game was the shit when it came out. They remade it the exact same. They updated the graphics a little bit, a little bit higher textures and things like that. But pretty exact same game. It was fun to play again, but it wasn't the same feeling because the times are different, man. It wasn't the same classic experience because people already have info on the game. There's YouTube now. YouTube didn't exist in 2000. YouTube didn't exist in 2004 when Classic came out. There weren't guides and voice communications like we have and just like all this knowledge. And it changes the way you play the game drastically, So you won't, people that want that original Diablo 2 experience still won't get it. It just won't be the same.
Right.
So,
but stepping back, we talk about time and time again is like, I still can't find any reasoning as to why this is being talked about still, because there's been basically zero, actual evidence that suggests like, other than the fact that Blizzard has been remaking games lately. Like I couldn't. There's nothing.
After the quarterly call too. I think people might be jumping on that bandwagon from the quarterly call, saying that we got some in the works or whatever. But.
Yeah. But that being said, okay, sure. Blizzard's been remastering a lot of games lately. It's pretty easy money to just like remake something, probably. And I want to give some insight that I had, from going to BlizzCon. I had the opportunity to sit down and I had coffee with Wyatt Chang. And so one of the questions I asked Wyatt Chang was like where's the news with Diablo Immortal this year? Like it wasn't talked about, but obviously a lot's changed based on what we saw on the demo, like quite a bit. You and I both played it. It was very different than it was the previous year. And what he said is like, we really don't want to take away from like the Diablo 4 announcement. Because one of the things that we wanted to announce this year with Diablo Immortal was, okay, we have these ultimate abilities, which on a mobile game, like, yeah, that might make sense. On Diablo 4, that could be a really controversial announcement. And we don't want to get people like confused that, oh, Diablo 4 is going to have ultimate abilities. And so, that's very well likely to be the reason why they didn't announce anything having to do with Diablo 2 Resurrected at BlizzCon, because they didn't want anyone to get anything confused across the line.
I don't know how you confuse that. I mean, you're an idiot if you confuse that.
I mean,
if you're
people are pretty dumb. Corona has exposed how dumb.
I mean, it's just kind of the hype. It's like, okay, they could have had like Diablo 2 remaster announcement, and then people would have been like, yeah, woo, cool, fuck Immortal in the crowd, right?
Yeah.
And then they would have dropped D4, and people would have shit themselves.
But either way, people shit themselves. This year,
that's what I'm saying. It's just like more hype on hype. I mean, D4 had so much hype, they didn't need the Diablo 2 remaster hype. Maybe they're saving it for this BlizzCon. Maybe they wanted to pull a cool, like, this BlizzCon, Diablo 2 remaster, blah, 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 available like Monday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That'd
Or
be
something
nutty.
like that.
Right.
So like the Apple style. Apple used to do that back in the day, and it was really fucking cool, man.
Right.
They would announce their products and be like, oh, by the way, you could buy it right now.
Right.
And you'd be like, oh shit, So I think that's a really cool thing. Like, especially with their lack of communication. It's like they don't communicate anyways. So if you're gonna be that secretive, then don't tease us, just drop it. Here you go.
Yeah. But that aside, there's already a pretty big Reddit post forming up of like, okay, how are they going to fuck this up? It's like a whole list of people making theories about how exactly they're going to fuck this up.
Vicarious Visions has done good stuff, man. So if it's fucked up, I wouldn't blame them. I would blame the direction they were told to make it.
Mm-hmm. Look at this thing. I mean,
it still doesn't fix anything, but
right. Yeah.
I'm trying to see, like, so they did they've got a lot of experience.
They helped with the Destiny port to PC.
Yeah, well. They helped get Destiny to PC. They made the entire expansion. They're remastering the Tony Hawk 1+2. I don't know if you've heard about that. Which is like a huge game. They did all the Crash Bandicoot series. They did a bunch of Skylanders shit, Guitar Hero. Like, they've been on some super massive titles that have done pretty well. So, a lot of remasters and porting and things like that. So they got a lot of practice in it. So if they do make a 1-to-1, man, I think that they would be a game to kill it. And did you ever play any of those old Tony Hawk games back in the day, like PlayStation? So I had, I don't know, Tony Hawk 1 or 2 or one of them. And when I saw the remaster, I'm like, oh, I remember playing that. I just watched the trailer clip they put out. Graphically, the work they did on that is insane. Like, it, they show like an old clip, and then they switch it to the new one. I was like, dude, that looks good, man. They nailed it. So if nothing else, let's just say it is a straight 1-to-1. Like, everything's the same, and they just remaster it. I think Vicarious Visions has at least the tool set to make the game stunning. Like, it could look badass. What if they pumped it out and it looked better than D4?
Yikes. Yeah.
They're like, listen, guys,
step this back a bit.
We need you to turn this shit and make it a little crappier, okay?
Render less things.
Can you turn that lighting off, please?
Yeah, that would be awkward. But yeah, I mean, like, it's hard to get crazy hype. Like, I know, like, Diablo 2 is like one of my favorite games of all time, obviously. But like, playing it now, which I did like several weeks ago, I mean, I was not entertained at all. So I don't know. Like, we know what to expect. When all the builds, they've already been discovered 1,000 times over. So that kind of feels bad from a creator perspective. It's like, well, what am I going to do?
Yeah, how long does the appeal last? If it's a 1-to-1 perfect copy and it just looks prettier, how long does it last? If you already know the builds,
right?
Like, so you're going to play through it once. You're going to be like, man, this is really pretty. And then what? Then you're going to get bored with it, man. Like, my vote is like, just stop for a second and relax and just listen. Like, let them change things. And no, it's not what, you're instantly going to be like, fuck that, I want the same game. No, like, let them change things. You already have that game.
Yeah.
Like, let them take some liberties with it. And then maybe, even if it's just itemization tweaks or rebalancing or new builds, new sets, new something. You know what I mean? New items.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Coming from the Final Fantasy VII fiasco, like personally, I was offended almost that it wasn't like kind of pound for pound the same. Because all I wanted was just a new, updated look on the old game that I loved, right? And I know that there's got to be a fuck ton of Diablo people that are in the exact same boat. But just like give them their own game mode. Like surely if you've done all that work to remaster the game in a new engine, you can put a little something extra on top of it and just separate it from what they want. So you're not pissing anybody off.
Yeah, like make it Diablo 2, what do they call it? Resurrected, and then like classic. And then it's like, boom, here's your original game.
Right. Yeah.
And then they can have like adventure mode, just like you're saying.
Classic mode, adventure
or resurrected mode. Classic mode or resurrected.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like pick your shit.
Totally.
So
yeah,
it would make sense to do that. I hope that they can. It would sell, I think, a shitload of copies though.
Yeah.
It's gonna make Blizzard some money.
Totally.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're gonna get paid.
I just, as I want Blizzard to hit a win because it's so hard to see Blizzard just like fail time and time again.
They won at BlizzCon with D4, man.
That was a big win. Yeah.
And you know what? They even handled the protest shit, man. They even handled that well.
Yeah.
Like they were on point for.
You think
that
with just Jab saying like we'll be better? I don't know. That didn't really hit for me.
Yeah, that. Well, no, I'm not saying about Chris's speech. Like I'm not even care. Like that was
Jab, not Chris.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, I don't know. It was okay. I still wish I would have got one of those T-shirts though. I said no.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking at the time. I was like, no, I'm good.
Well, I mean, it was a pretty volatile time to be a creator. Like, I don't know if it was, because of Brandy but if you were walking on eggshells, I felt like as a creator. So
yeah,
I don't know. Anyways, yeah. So in other news, there was a quarterly update, right? So we listened in on the entire phone call, right? A lot of execution, a lot of momentum, a lot of ecosystem, a lot of color. We had like a poll going of how many times they used the word. Execution was the most common word, by the way. But yeah, so there's a whole lot to sift through. And the two most exciting things I think that were coming out of that phone call was one, kind of confirms what we talked about last week, where from quarter one, we heard that Immortal was going to be like internally tested in June. And it sounds like they're even like kind of further along than we thought. Like it could go into closed beta pretty soon. So it sounds like that's kind of on the final stretch before release. So like whether that's good or bad, we have yet to see. But
yeah,
at least we know that that's probably on the horizon. The other thing that was kind of fascinating is they said they have multiple mobile titles in the works.
Mobile Overwatch. I'm telling you, mobile Overwatch is definitely going to be a thing.
I mean, I struggle to think of what else. It's mobile StarCraft. I don't think would that even work?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm sure
with like autoplay and crap like that. I don't know.
Mobile Diablo. Okay.
Yeah.
That's already confirmed. So does that count?
Yeah.
And then mobile Overwatch has got to be a thing. And then
mobile WoW.
No, there's no way. There is no fucking way.
Mobile what? Well, with the pet battles, right? Mobile pet battle.
Yeah, they could do Pokemon WoW. And they already do have a mobile app for WoW that lets you like do garrison stuff in game. So yeah, in Auction House maybe too. I don't know. Yeah, I mean they could definitely do a WoW Pokemon style game.
Yeah, or like maybe it's like entirely new IP. We don't even know.
A mobile IP. Yeah.
The one thing that I like, a couple more things. So one thing, like they kept asking about like World of Warcraft and Diablo Immortal and Call of Duty was probably the biggest topic because the BR is doing really well, even though like I hate that game.
Makes them some serious jack too.
Yeah. But they kept going back to Candy Crush too, and like all these games were talking about. I found this amusing. All these games were talking about like, oh, what's coming for this game? And Call of Duty's like, oh, we got this content on the way, and like people are really liking this. People are really excited about the momentum and execution of this, and like we're bringing this to the players. And then they go to like Candy Crush, and it's like, yeah, what's on the horizon? Oh, we're gonna hit users with more ads. Like that was like all they had to say in Candy Crush.
That's what they said. They literally said that.
Like
we're gonna hit with more ads.
It's like, what's on the horizon for Candy Crush? Well, we've figured out a way to hit users with more ads. It's like,
so wait. So they're gonna have like other companies' ads inside of Candy Crush.
Yes. Well, they already do that, I guess, but they're gonna.
Oh, I don't know.
Do more. I don't play it either. But
Jesus, man. You know what's crazy is like last earnings. I didn't check this one, but last one's. King Games, the owners of Candy Crush, made more money than all the other games put together.
It's been a thing for a while.
I mean, it didn't even. It's like it blows my mind. Like you got COD, you got WoW, every WoW franchise, and it's like no fucking mobile game makes more money than all of those added up.
Yeah.
So and it's like we wonder why we're getting Immortal and these other mobile titles. There's your fucking answer right there, man. So
yeah, I wonder what the demographic information is for Candy Crush. We should look that up sometime.
I don't know. Let me see if I can find something real quick.
Yeah,
it's
yeah. I just found it funny because they're all like World of Warcraft, Shadowlands. We've got all this stuff coming for the community, and then they go to Candy Crush and like, yeah, we're gonna hit people with more ads. That's what's coming down the pipeline. It's like nice.
42% of Candy Crush players are 21 to 35.
Does it say male or female? Or no?
No. Yeah. I got all this.
Okay.
Hold on. So 21 to 35 is 42%. And then let's see, 40% is above 35. 40% of their player base is above 35.
Wow.
And 42% is between 21 and 35, and that leaves the rest. It's actually like Clash of Clans. I guess they own that game too. Just slays it. That game and Candy Crush are like all their monies, man. It doesn't say female though. I thought it did. It didn't say that on this thing I looked at. But yeah, I mean that's about the same demographic as Diablo 3, you know?
Diablo 3 is like
it's got
35 plus. Yeah. I mean both of ours
are
35 to like 50 is the peak.
It's like our age range, I feel like.
Yeah.
You know, but you don't get a lot of 18 to 20 something ish players in there. Those guys are mainly in Fortnite and COD,
right?
You know.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. The other interesting thing of information, other than Diablo Immortal thing, was they said, "quote several remasters to announce this year."
Several.
What
else could they do, man? The Burning Crusade. Wow, expansion
that's
1.
True.
That's 1. Diablo 2.
Yeah.
That's 2. And that classifies as multiple.
It does.
How they do it.
Yeah.
But,
not technically, but yeah, by Blizzard standards, right?
But, what else could they? StarCraft 1?
I wonder if they're counting because it is Activision, so they're remastering Call of Duty 2?
Modern Warfare 2.
Something like that.
They already do that.
I don't think it's out. Like it's on the launcher, but it's like pre-purchase.
They didn't even put multiplayer in that shit. Like
it's just the campaign.
Who cares,
Call of Duty campaign. Who fucking cares? Oh my god.
No, people actually really. I said that in my stream, and a lot of people were like, "I do. I like it. It was so good. It's my favorite one."
You banned them, right? Good.
No. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's I guess people like the COD campaigns. That's their thing.
Weirdos.
What
campaigns
else?
and mega lol. I mean, so like I know they kind of retouched StarCraft, but I feel like I don't know.
Did StarCraft 1 ever get remade? I don't remember.
I feel like they're due for something.
I mean, StarCraft 2 almost needs to be remade at this point.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like StarCraft 2 needs due for something juicy. But
so
who knows? Because those games are like I still see like the RTS tournaments, and there's like still a huge turnout for StarCraft and other games like that. Whatever they are.
Got a huge. Yeah. Somebody told me once they're like StarCraft is Korea's national sport or some shit like that. I Like really? Like, dude, it's crazy. Like everybody, I guess they would back, a couple of years ago, it was like their Fortnite. It's like now everybody knows what Fortnite is, right? But I guess, they're like, yeah, everybody knows what StarCraft is in Korea.
Yeah.
I'm like, huh, interesting.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I don't know. I'd be excited to see. I'm kind of getting over the remaster thing. Like, I think it's kind of gone like the reboot movies, the remake movies, the reboots, the remasters, and everything. It's like,
Yeah.
okay. Like, when does this shit stop? Like,
Yeah.
I enjoy my old classic games. The only one that I cared about was Final Fantasy VII, and
Exactly.
that's come and gone. And like,
And that left
it
a
was
crazy sour taste in my mouth as far as like
did it?
reboots are
I don't know.
concerned.
And so it's been a couple weeks, right? And so like I enjoyed the playthrough, but I have zero desire to ever play that game again.
Yeah, that sucks. Imagine how
You
much
know what I mean?
replayability was in the original. Like a year.
But if the original launched today for the first time, after we beat it, would you want to go through and play it again? Like I don't have any desire to play the original either, really, other than to compare it to the new one. You know?
I mean, yeah, probably. Like, because there's the weapons, right? Like that's extra content.
Yeah.
And that's you have to grind to like get those dudes dead. So like
there wasn't as much, there wasn't any end game in it.
It's the Leviathan fight.
It surprises me. Yeah, the Leviathan fight, and that was just
like
stupid.
One mechanic you had the magic barrier for. Like
it's like there's a unblockable mechanic that you have to like brace yourself for. That's it. I don't know, man. I don't know, but there's nothing else from my childhood with like Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Were they going to give me a good Mike Tyson's Punch Out? Like, did you play that game on Nintendo?
No.
Oh, you didn't have Nintendo, did you?
No, I didn't. Thanks for reminding me.
You were so deprived. So you didn't get to play any of the classics, man. You didn't Spy Hunter, Mike Tyson's Punch Out, Kung Fu.
No,
none of that shit.
No, just like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and like Mario at a friend's house a couple times.
Turtles, the arcade game was the shit.
Yeah,
that was that. That could be.
Yeah, and one day they'll look back and be like, "Man, Diablo 4, the arcade game, that was the shit."
Yeah. A Ninja Turtle game that's actually like Super Pog would be so cool, man. Like,
yeah,
somebody
totally.
Put a list of all games. Like, if they could make
somehow,
I don't know, how could you do it, man? How could you pull that off?
I'm sure
you couldn't ARPG it. You couldn't MMO it.
No,
you'd have to, but it needs to be online somehow.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know.
But this was kind of like a side tangent, but I found it to be pretty interesting. Some Diablo 3 from Blizzard North screenshots have resurfaced, and they're pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
They're a lot more gothic feeling, so I think this probably would have hit a little. I mean, they don't look great, but these are like really early renders. Look at it. There's that verticality that you kind of talked about.
Can you show them off on the pod?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so like, there's this thing here, like so maybe some of that verticality that you.
Yeah. If you zoom in on them a little bit, it doesn't look as crappy as it does so far zoomed out. And you got to realize these are probably very early, so there's not lighting effects and details that would be on the final product. But they're okay-ish. Like, it's definitely a different feel than what we ended up with. It looks a little crappier than what we ended up with, but you got to keep.
But it's also not as cartoony, even from the pre-renders. Alpha.
Yeah.
I think that was like the big takeaway is that obviously their Diablo 3 would have been quite different. It'd be so cool if we could just like peek into like an alternate reality where their Diablo 3 hit instead of our Diablo 3.
They're still super blocky. It's still super very sharp corners, flat textures, no elevation. The little worm virus shit all over the floor is kind of cool looking though.
Yeah. Could have been an interesting game.
UI.
Yeah.
That UI though. I mean, the UI still looks better than Path of Exiles though. So
wow, here we go.
They got that going for them, I guess. Oh shit!
The guy's gear is sick though. He's got a big axe, some winged helm. Let's go, man.
It's zoomed out a little bit. Still 4:3,
But yeah, it's so interesting. Like, I wonder what that would have looked like had Blizzard North been in charge of D3. guarantee you've been way more like POE than Diablo 3 is.
Yeah, it would probably be. There probably wouldn't be a POE.
Maybe,
How many
yeah.
of the how many of the guys? So the POE guys came from Blizzard North, right? Some of them.
I think some of them, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they got a couple. I can't remember. I've read this before, but I don't remember the details.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Just curious how much influence that actually had.
I like the head guys. Like none of those guys are Diablo 2, but
Yeah.
yeah, I just found it to be interesting that
It was
kind of
pretty cool.
resurfaced.
Yeah.
But on to some PoE stuff.
Okay.
Unless you had anything else you want to talk about.
Not in the Diablo realms.
Okay, so PoE, some crazy stuff going on. But before we get into that, I do want to focus on another thing that I think is really cool. So Chris Wilson in his GGG talk, he basically is like, we hired people from the community because we feel like overall it makes us put out a better game. And so yet again, they've hired basically just a big time Redditor to be one of the game designers. And so they did this whole interview that you guys can read about on their website. But it's cool to see that, obviously if I'm super passionate about PoE, to just go and work on it would be insane. I'd be so...
Yeah, right.
Imagine being one of those people, because I know you and I probably aren't, but you wake up and it's 7 a.m. and you pop out of bed, you're like, God damn, I can't wait to go to work today. Woo! Right?
I do that. It's me every day, dude.
Oh yeah, really? Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Fuck yeah.
But yeah, I can't even imagine that world. So that'd be really cool.
It makes me. It does make you wonder. Would you hate PoE after a while?
Yeah, you
If
gotta wonder that
this,
too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my fear is okay, the first 3, 6, 7 months, you're like, this is the shit. And then the first time you're like, listen, guys, I got this great idea, especially you, because you're so passionate and always right. Right. So we got Fluff comes into work and he's like, listen, guys, nope. This new skill needs to do this. You're going to do this and then it's going to do this and boom. And they're like, I don't like that. Here, make it this way. And then you're going to be like, that's super fucking dumb. No, absolutely not. And then they're like, no, I'm not just make it that way. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you, make it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to be like, motherfucker, So then you're coding this guy's dumbass idea that is going to suck. Right.
Yeah. But that's software engineering though.
Yeah,
to be fair.
Okay, so you that's okay. So it's a game design thing then. So you're designing an encounter, right? And then you're like, yo, I'm gonna have this guy come in, and the thing's gonna eat him and spit him out. And the guy's like, nah, man, let's just walk in there and have it transform and then smash him. And you're like, no, that's dumb. And you're like, I don't care, do it. Okay, you know. So it's the same thing. You know, how are you gonna be like, well, this sucks.
Yeah, exactly. And then if you're sitting there, say as a programmer at Path of Exile, and you've got the client up all the time, and you're just basically trying to fix a bug, but you got your character in the game, and you're spawning in with all the loot or whatever you want to recreate the issue, and when you get home at the end of the day, is there any drive whatsoever to let me just hop on my Delirium character and
absolutely
spawn some
not.
conquerors?
No,
yeah,
no way.
You gotta wonder.
No way. There's no way. Absolutely no way.
I don't know. It'd be cool to have a developer on someday. I think they'd have to say, well, yeah, of course we play, but
yeah, they have to say that.
Right.
Because they're fixing the game.
Right.
Behind the scenes, there's abso-fucking-lutely not. You know what I mean? I come home and I play WoW, or I come home and I play Call of Duty all day. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or I come home and
play Diablo 3 all day.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a closet that guy at GGG.
I'm sure there is.
Terrified to talk to his coworkers.
I mean, I've heard rumors, and I don't know how true they are, but I've heard rumors that in the Fenris building, the Diablo 4 building, that for a long time people were not allowed to talk about PoE. If you talked about it, it was shunned on. Wow. I don't know how true that is. That's somebody told me that at BlizzCon. That could be full of shit. I don't know. But what they said was yeah, dude, it's not even talked about. You know what I mean? And then, but I'm like, they gotta play it. And then I had other people tell me that they were play testing it. You know what I mean? They were literally getting paid to play PoE to
Jesus,
figure out.
Diablo, hire me if you want that job filled, bro.
So I mean, I don't know what's true or not. These are just what people
said.
You know what I mean? So it could be all bullshit, but Those are two drastically different
Yeah.
stories. But if it is the first one where it's like, you don't go to the higher ups office and be like, well, POE does it this way. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know either.
So
But yeah, but it is cool. At the end of the day, it's cool that they look for people that are passionate about the game before they necessarily. I mean, obviously you want to be qualified as well, but before they look at like, okay, like if I were to apply for, Blizzard as a programmer, which I have before many times, like it's all about like, okay, what games did you work on? Like, where did you come from? Like, what did you guys release? Instead of like, how much Diablo do you play? Like, what's your background with Diablo? Like, what do you think about Diablo? Blah, 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 blah. It's like, do you have game experience? And that's all we really give a shit about. So,
right.
I think that's, and like this guy came from Reddit and he was like a designer or something. And now he basically designs games. He's like a bioengineer or something like that. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, playing a variety of games makes a difference. An example is like, I know one of the YouTube comments one time was like, PChild doesn't know shit about itemization. Like, what games have you played with loot or something like that?
you read that?
Like
I thought I posted that in confidence.
Yeah, it was you. I'm like, all I play are loot management games. I mean, Diablo, World of Warcraft, Destiny, Division. Those are just a couple where every single one of those games, you're constantly like, fuck, my inventory's full. Hold on. Let me go figure out a way to manage this loot. Let's look at this inventory. Let's figure out the best interface to manage it. Like, I mean, and he just goes from there. There are even more, but so if somebody was like, hey, we're looking for somebody to help us with loot management interface or loot management systems in a game, and you're like, what game have you played? Oh, I only played Diablo 3. Okay. That's not near as valuable to me as somebody's been like, well, I played PoE and Diablo 3 and WoW and Destiny and Division and fucking Final Fantasy. Like, I start naming off a bunch of games with loot, take that guy. Be like, all right, cool. See what you got.
And that was like one of the things that we noticed, like both years we've been to BlizzCon is, in 2018, all I could hear about from the other people that were on the Blizzard team was about that. Was that shooter War? God damn it! What's that fucking
Overwatch?
game? No, the shooter that was like a looter, and it's like free to play.
Warframe.
Warframe, thank you.
Yeah.
Like everyone's talking about Warframe, and every single time we'd mention like Lost Ark, PoE, it'd just be like crickets, right? Like it was all like Warframe. But then in 2019, like the conversations I had, like it was like, oh yeah, a lot more people had tried out these other things. But it's still kind of like, oh, no one's really heard of Lost Ark. Still.
Yeah.
So
well, that's another one I played. I played Warframe a little bit. It was okay.
Oh, you did? Okay, good. Because I have no idea what's going on with that. But yeah, I kept hearing that in 2018. It's like everyone's like, oh, let's see how they do it, their itemization and stuff like that.
It's like it's like crazy deep, like PoE. Like it's one of those free to play models like PoE where you can genuinely jump in and play for free. And there's like so much shit going on in that game. You're like, as a new player, you're like, what is happening? You know what I mean? So it's definitely, it's a thing.
Yeah.
I haven't heard much about that in a while, but
yeah. It's I know. And then in some not so good news for the Path of Exile, Cute Dog, who's a big PoE streamer, he did an experiment where he basically so he's always loaded up on cosmetics, microtransactions.
Yeah.
And because, he's been playing the game forever and a bit of a whale, I guess. So he's got all the things. And so he always has his character decked out. And, he's always the size of a screen because he's playing some like crazy headhunter build and blah, blah, blah. But what he noticed was the more he put on, and especially ones like some microtransactions in particular, just by playing the game, you could noticeably see the degradation of performance. And it wasn't just while he's casting the skills, it's it's just over time. If he's using any of those microtransactions or cosmetics, it just starts to go down, and then it keeps going down and keeps going down because memory leak.
So it's memory leak issues almost.
Yeah, super bad memory leak. And so what he did was he bought microtransactions to basically erase all of his cosmetics, and would sit there in a hideout with no decorations, which is why he's hanging there in space. he would just like spam his ability and like it would stay at like 300. Like he's got a really good computer and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But as soon as you like put on the microtransactions and you sit there and holds right click, he goes all the way down to like 14 frames and he just like stays there, even not by casting anything anymore. It's like
Just
the only
let
way
it go.
to
Total shit.
the only way to fix is just to exit game and come back. And
So
like
that's why
not-
the game runs so good for me then, because I'm just a
Yeah.
basic default pleb.
Yeah, and that's I mean that's a pretty big red flag. You know,
Yeah,
if you
so he switched out to completely new sets of of cosmetics.
just deleted them basically with like clear cosmetics.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So,
a problem, man.
That's a big problem. And they're porting all of the microtransactions that exist in Path of Exile to PoE 2. So it's definitely something they need to get on top
Hopefully
of.
they can figure out whatever's going down. I mean, that's, I'm sure, hopefully good knowledge for them that they probably already knew, but
yeah,
that's interesting.
That's a real feel bad moment as a gamer that you spend like $11 and get a skill effect. But little do you know, you're fucking yourself.
Yeah. GG's, man. Everybody go buy $40 wings right now.
Not if you don't want to lag.
What if it was the other way though? What if the cosmetics gave you FPS?
Better performance.
Pay to FPS.
Yeah. Pay to win.
Pay to FIPS.
Yeah. I mean,
Speaking of FPS, I want to derail for 1 second. Have you? Well, hold on. Nah, we can talk about it. No. Did you see the article? Okay, never mind. I'm skipping it. I'm going to save that for my love section.
Okay. Now, this next part, I think that you're going to like this. You're going to find this particularly interesting. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So recently, there has been a China version of Path of Exile. They're just launching it. It's a China client, and
it's officially supported.
It's their thing, right? It is Tencent's thing.
Sure it wasn't like a knockoff.
No, it's their own thing. And so what some of the community's done, they did like an official China race to like maybe promote the China client. I don't know, but it's like you're rewarded points for like killing Uber Elder, Awakener. It's actually a really cool like little tournament, and there's cash prizes and et cetera, et cetera. I didn't personally do it, but I fucking work full time. But as those players, all these NA players are getting in there, like big time streamers, they start noticing things. So one of the things, this first clip is from Rise, and he watches a clip of some guy die, okay? And then the bottom right, it tells him how he fucking died. Or the bottom left. It says,
how is that?
Killed by bone husk, extra projectiles, allies deal extra physical damage, extra life, undead. So it just basically gives him a description of the mob that killed him and like what mods he had that will probably lent himself to dying.
It's a bot. A bot's telling him. Okay.
So like that's one thing PoE community's been asking for like since the dawn of time, right? And one of the things that you said immediately when you played it for the first time was like, I don't know how I died. Like I just how are you supposed to know?
Fuck, how did I just die?
So that's one thing, but it doesn't stop there. It's like they've been watching all the NA streams or something.
Right.
And then another one. So this guy's in his stash, and this might look weird, and it took a second for me to figure it out. But basically, he's like hitting categories, and it's like, okay, he's gonna look up particular types of belts, but you very quickly realize like, oh my god, this is an auction house that's built into his stash tab. So like these are other players listing their belts for sale, and he can filter, see the ones he wants, and buy them directly.
Nice.
So this, this kind of reminds me of, you remember we talked about many podcasts ago, like in China, Diablo 3 has a cosmetic shop where you can buy stash tabs, you can buy cosmetics, et cetera, et cetera. You can buy XP potions, unfortunately, but like all those other things, like that code's there somewhere. Like I wonder what the hang up is with just like being like, okay, let's take
why they won't turn it on. Yeah.
It's like some China IP thing. And it doesn't even stop. Okay. And this one's, I think, is going to really freak you out. Okay. So one of the, we hear about this in Diablo all the time. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy, he bought one of these things from the shop. And it's this little
oh, it's so fucking cute.
Bear thing. And he's dropping currency instantly. The little bear picks it up for him. So it basically follows them around and picks up all the things.
Picks up all the things. So could you get a pet in Diablo to do that, to pick up all the things?
I mean, not a lot of people want it.
I've been asked that like every week, even this week.
I think it's just the currency, but still, it's amazing.
Yeah, that's cool. I think, I would be okay with a pet picking up Death's Breath and all your crafting mats in Diablo. I'd be okay with that. I think anything else is too much,
But
that's interesting though. I mean,
yeah. And so this has PoE players being like, "Yo, what the fuck? Like we've been asking for this shit forever."
So did any response?
I don't think so. No, it's just kind of like
maybe you should add Bex.
Don't
be a bitch. Do it.
I'm already like I don't have a great track record of community managers loving me. I don't want to lie.
You Bex
I'm gonna do even more,
man. She's like smiley faced replied to you, I'm sure. So.
But they have to know. It's not like I would be like, wow, we never saw this before. But it's crazy that they have all these things that GG kind of was like they kind of made it sound like the death log was like not possible. Which obviously it is. But I know the other things are just straight up like, no, we're not going to do that. So I wonder if this will make them reconsider, or they're just like, yeah, okay, who cares? Like, we're doing it our way.
Maybe they had to rebuild the China client from the ground up, and they were able to add it. I
doubt it.
Which is an easy explanation, though. If they're like, well, we had to add all this extra code for the China client, so it was able to get it in there, but we'd have to rebuild NA or...
Yeah, and some other things that were not in these clips, which I found to be really fascinating, especially your opinion, right, as someone who hasn't played a ton. So, when you create your character in Path of Exile, right, it's just like Marauder, for example. Like when you played, I think you played a Berserker or a Duelist, do you remember?
I played a Cyclone guy thing.
Was it like a big guy or was it like a small guy?
He was little.
Okay, so you probably played like a Duelist.
Okay.
And, it's your first time going into the game, like you don't even know, like that character is going to ascend into 3 like major decisions.
Yeah.
And you don't have any insight onto that when you make your character. Like for all you know, like, oh, I want to pick this guy. I want to be a summoner, right? And like you just don't really know.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the one that looks cool, right?
Yeah.
Oh, this one looks cool.
And so that's another thing that the China thing did is like, okay, like this is your Marauder, but they're going to branch into, just so you know, before you make your character, they're going to be a Berserker. They're going to be a Guardian or whatever. So like it tells you all that stuff up front. So there's not that question. And there's like a lot of extra tutorials along the way that explain how to use currency as you go along, how to like use support skills and all that stuff. Like it's all kind of built into the gameplay versus, the NA client, which is just, it's so fascinating to see like kind of people freaking out about like, well, why is this not a thing for us?
Yeah.
So
it's interesting. Maybe, PoE 2 around the corner. It's got to be something that they need to do is attract new players, right? PoE 2 is this chance for them to get fresh blood because eventually all their clients, people will leave. Eventually. Like, I'm sure there's diehard, but over time, if you're not recruiting as much as you're losing, your game's shrinking. You know what I mean? So when PoE 2 comes, it's a huge number, and they gotta become a little bit better at the new player friendly. I feel like it'll go a long ways if they could figure out ways to do that. Instead of being like, hey, go watch this streamer or go watch this YouTube video. Some people want to do it in game. So
yeah,
I don't know. I hope they add some stuff.
But yeah, that's pretty much all the ARPG news.
Cool.
One quick thing. So the new Apex season's today, which is exciting.
Yeah,
but I was reading through. Yeah, me too. I was reading through some of the weapon changes, and they all look like pretty good. But then if you scroll all the way to the bottom, I'm pissed off. I'm telling you right now. I'm pissed off.
I already know.
The cooldown for grappling hook has been increased from 15 seconds to 35 seconds.
I read that and I shed a tear for you. I'm like, what? That totally breaks it, right?
Playable. Yeah, you can. It's like once per fight now instead of like maybe multiple times. It's so less fun.
I mean, everybody was playing Pathfinder, I guess.
You think?
I don't know. Why?
Everyone
That's
loves
a
that
big
Wraith
nerf.
chick still.
Isn't she like the pay to win character though?
No, she's one of the originals. The one that
Oh,
like
is she?
turns into like a ghost for a
Oh
short
yeah,
duration. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, pissed.
I wonder how it's doing as far as like
Viewership.
traction
You know,
on.
they just launched a new season. I looked early today. They're at like 10K. I was like, wow.
I'm looking right now. Path of wait. Oh, that's
Apex.
shit that I follow. Is it? No, that's not. Oh, okay. Blizzard or Twitch is like resorting things.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? Diablo second? No, it's not.
Your interests.
Yeah. It's way down there, dude.
Oh.
I don't even. Oh, it's no, not too bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's in 7th spot.
Okay,
So
that's not bad.
yeah, that's better.
But now it's like none of the big streamers are playing it. So I was like, I wonder what that's about. Like they're so over it or
It's
what?
your time. It's your time to shine, dude.
I guess. Is that what you tell
We'll see,
yourself when
man.
you play World of Warcraft?
Yeah, that's exactly what I think. I'm like, man, I'm buried like 10 pages down.
Here's my time to shine.
It's my time. I'm gonna be a WoW streamer. Oh man, I don't know. I don't know. It would be interesting to do some Apex though. We'll maybe after a podcast one of these weeks we'll have to throw down. They added 2v2, I hear, so we wouldn't need a third squad member either. We could just go in and
I might need someone to share that load.
I could carry you a little bit, maybe. So, can you plug your controller in so you'd be good? Like maybe that would help.
Fucking toxic. I know. I thought about that too because I do get like, I get that issue. I have an issue with my left hand, and if I play a lot of Apex, like it gets a lot worse.
What do you mean you got an issue?
So like I just lose controls like of my left two fingers sometimes.
So like shift and control. And
yeah, exactly.
A and
the big important ones. Yep.
The big important ones.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. But controller never happens, so I don't know.
That sucks, dude. Getting old must suck, man. Someday.
Aren't you older than me, right?
I don't think so. I think you got like a month or two on me, buddy. So does there listen, I got a ThaPChild loves this week.
Okay. Let's hear it.
This is like a good spin on a negative thing.
Okay.
I love high frame rates. I love the frames. Okay. Once you start playing high frame rate, you can't go back. And Xbox Sex, the Series X, the next generation, I think it's Series X, has boasted 4K 60 FPS. Okay. That's not even high frame rate, in my opinion. But it's 4K 60. It's, okay. That's playable though, right? Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the new one. Have you seen the trailer to that?
The Viking guys.
Yeah. It looks sick. It looks really good. And I loved Odyssey. So I'm excited for the game. But they announced that, like, hey, we're targeting no less than 4K 30 FPS. They said no less than 30 FPS on next generation consoles. And to me, I'm like, man, I love high frame rates. I can't playing Final Fantasy on my PlayStation Pro at 30 FPS like made me want to throw up. It literally bothered me physically. After playing, 144 plus for so long, you just go to 30 and it's like, this is nasty. It sucks. Right. I don't like this. How the hell can the next generation consoles launch and not hit 60 as a minimum 60 FPS? That either shows consumer ignorance because they just haven't played high frame rates ever, or just fuck it, they'll buy it anyways. Like, I don't know, man, but it bothers me a lot.
Is it the new games aren't optimized for the new hardware, or like, I don't know. It just seems crazy that it wouldn't be like technically next gen at all.
Yeah. It's like almost like they're like a refresh. I mean, they're I don't know. Hard drive speeds are crazy faster. Processor speeds going up, graphics power is going up, but it's not going to be as big of a leap as we got from PS3 to PS4 or from PS2 to PS3. It feels like it's a narrower gap.
So where's the positive spin
for the next gen consoles?
Yeah. What's this positive
If
spin
they
you're
can't
talking
hit
about?
4K 60, I don't know. If you can't hit 4K 60, are you going to be able to hit 1080p 120? Like that's if you can't if you're not getting 120 frames next gen at 1080p, why would I buy that at all? Unless you have exclusive titles, because I'm
Right.
just going to play everything on PC still,
This sounds more
where I
like
can
a
get
PChild hates.
144 frames. Hmm?
This sounds more like a PChild hates.
No, it's a PChild loves high frame rates. I love
Okay, okay, I got you.
I love high frame rates.
Nice.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
We can hit some Twitter questions unless you got some hatred you need to get off your chest.
You know what's funny? We were talking about the other night of like Candy Crush. We're like, oh, we're gonna hit users with more ads, right? And it kind of got us like thinking about like maybe the origins of microtransactions and like the demographic information of Candy Crush. Because I know like there's a lot of moms that like spend a lot of money on Candy Crush, and it made me reflect. I wanted to tell like a story. Like, so when I was a kid, this is kind of a fluff hates, I guess. Like my mom, I don't know if your mom ever went through this, but she was like crazy into Beanie Babies.
No.
Okay, cool.
No, I know, but I know people like I have friends of the family. One of my friends' moms was like a collector. And the reason I know, didn't McDonald's put some out? I think McDonald's.
Sure.
I think McDonald's had like this.
Everyone was
set,
doing
right?
it back then.
That had it.
Yeah.
And I remember my friend's mom like coming home and like, you guys hungry? And she had like 50 fucking Happy Meals. And I'm like, what are you doing? And I think it's because they had Beanie Babies in them and she was like collecting them. So I don't know. Okay. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's fine. So, the reason I bring it up is because like, I wonder if there's ever a situation where like Candy Crush is, I'm sure there's gotta be situations where Candy Crush is out of control for somebody, because I think about when I was young and my mom like was so addicted to, Beanie Babies, like buying Beanie Babies, that like there's a point where like my dad like had family meeting and she had to like cut her credit cards like in front of us, because like we were very house poor growing up. Like we had a very nice house, but we were very house poor, and so like it got to the point where like I remember like I would play games in the living room and to hear them like kind of arguing, and my dad's like, we can't fucking pay the mortgage because you can't stop buying these fucking Beanie Babies. And it got to the point where like in 2 months after that, she like filed for a new credit card like without my dad knowing, and then that became a thing. And then it got to the point where she got fired
They're
from
still
her.
together?
Yeah, she got fired from her job because she was using her company card to buy Beanie Babies.
Okay, that's like a legit like crazy
addiction, right?
That's like crack almost.
Yeah,
that's like insane, right?
And so it makes me wonder, like, does that exist for these candy? Because I mean, I hear the stories all the time, like, okay, soccer moms or whatever, like, love Candy Crush, and I wonder if like that's a thing.
It's probably got to be a thing. So like it kind of relates a little bit to me. Like my kids are into a game called Roblox. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Yeah,
but like Roblox is like it's like Minecraft, I guess ish. That's the closest thing I can relate it, but not quite. But my two youngest are into it and they play, and so they all of my kids' allowance gets spent on microtransactions, like every penny of it for like my three youngest kids. It's either Fortnite, Roblox, whatever that game's called, or like something,
Yeah.
And so my son comes up to me last night and he's like, hey, I got $5 left of my allowance. Can I spend it on Roblox? And I'm like, sure. So I go to his PC and I buy the stuff. And then like I'm starting to walk away and I'm like, let me just make sure it didn't save that credit card info. Because I always wonder, like, what if my son goes there and he's like, it saved it, right? And he's just like, spends $100, like the big mega pack, whatever.
Sure.
$100, right? Let's say he spent like $10,000 like that in a course of an hour because he's just thinking he's getting free Roblox. He doesn't really get it. What would they do if he got it and spent all of it in game? Would they be like, fuck you, dude, you're on the hook for 10 grand or a grand, or let's just say it's 1,000, right?
Right.
Because I mean, like, could I afford the 1,000? Like, yeah, I'm not going to lose my house, but would it totally suck? Yeah, sure. You know what I mean? I'd be, and like, what if they're like, no, man, like you're eating that. Like,
right.
What do you?
Well, I mean, like the initial thing would be like, well, I file these charges as fraudulent to my bank, but then the bank's like, no, like that you did that. Like your son did it.
Yeah.
So it's like,
well,
I'm like, well,
what
arrest him, please.
Yeah. Like, what do you?
$1,000.
I'm pressing charges against my 8-year-old. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. I don't know what you do.
Crazy.
I would just be like, listen, guys, like you can delete his account. Like, I don't give a shit what you do, but like, I'm not paying you $1,000, you know? So, but yeah, so I always go back. Even I tell my kids, like, sit down and explain to them. I'm like, listen, when you buy these things, I'm paying for that. So like, this isn't free. Make sure that you don't go back and try to buy this. Always come and get me. And like, they're responsible. They're cool. But I'm always going back. I'm like, let's try to buy it again. Does it make me ask for the credit card or whatever, you know? So it's crazy. I got to imagine that'd be interesting if you guys, you know, any of the viewers or listeners have stories like that, man. You can post them in our Discords. I'd be interested to hear what happens. What's the outcome? Were they able to like get the charges reversed, or they have to eat it? You know what always makes me happy? You ever see those videos or those stories where somebody like donates a bunch of money to a streamer and then they charge it back?
Right.
You know, they'll be like, oh, here's 10 grand or 50 grand.
Yeah.
And then they'll charge it back and like a day later and fuck the streamer over.
Right.
The
There's
ones
been plenty of those stories, right? Where the kids like stolen the card and it's like $5,000 and the streamer's
they
like,
make them pay it. Like the ones where the credit card company's like, nope, you're paying that shit. Those are like so good to me. I'm like, thank you, dude. Because that's such a dick move, man. Like you're acting like you're donating. Yeah.
Right.
I love those stories too, chat. We have some Twitter questions.
Do it.
Let's do it. The first question, if you guys want to submit, before we hit Twitter questions, real quick, I forgot to talk about this earlier. Don't forget about the Patreon, guys. We have the Patreon. You can check out the link in all the YouTube videos. I don't know if we have one here to link in chat right now. But
boom.
It's
exclamation point new meta.
Got it. We got it. It's pretty cool, man. We're recording the pre-shows every day, so there are different tiers on there. But if you guys are interested in listening to the pre-show for the new meta, it's available. We're recording them. We're uploading them to Patreon exclusive content. You guys can check it out. So don't forget about the Patreon. It helps support us and continue doing what we're doing. Anyways, Twitter questions. The first one. If you want to submit these, you can tweet at Fluff. You can tweet at me. You can join our Discords. We have sections in there. You can ask your questions. Maester Magus drops the first question this week. He said, can you shed some color on whether the increased momentum of player-to-player journey of the other Blizzard games will encourage future engagements on Blizzard's part to committing to D4, a full payer-style game? So I think it's kind of a loaded one. What did you say?
So, that was to mimic the language of the quarterly earnings call.
Like, is that what he was doing?
He nailed it. Can you just read that one more time?
Yeah, because I'm reading to this like, what the fuck did you ask right here? Like, I know what he's asking, but I'm like, why did you... Can you shed some color on whether the increased momentum of player-to-player journey of the other Blizzard games will encourage future engagement on Blizzard's part to committing to D4, a full payer-style game?
Yeah. Yep. That's nailed it. It's weird, too, because in that quarterly call, they say, like, we want to convert players to payers. And often they just say payers. Like, so, we're increasing payer engagement. And to me, that's just like at least like obfuscate it a little bit. Don't like call your players payers. Like, it's just so like slimy feeling.
It is super.
But you don't have to actually.
I don't know
that.
if this is a legit question though.
Question.
Okay, so I'm just gonna skip over it. All right. Demonic Grizz says, "What is the most memorable vacation you've ever taken? Why does it stand out above the others?"
Shoot. I mean, Vietnam still stands out as one of the top of all time, just because there's just so much that went wrong. There was so like much unknown to like, being able to communicate, and would we make it to the next place, and then charting it out beforehand, and like the tire explodes and like literally charted on the map the worst place it could possibly happen, and that's where it happened. And like the unknown of like tracking down like a tire, and it was just insane. Like, it was such an adventure. Like, it's hard to capture like an adventure, I feel like, in this day and age, in the digital age, of like, what people must have felt like way back when. So like, yeah, that just really stands out as just like, what a crazy adventure.
Yeah. For me, it was probably the most memorable was probably the first family vacation that I took with my own family. Like I remember going to all the family vacations as a kid with my parents and stuff like that. And I had some really good ones there too. But the first time my wife and I were able, like we saved up, and when we first got married and first had kids, we were super broke. I mean, we were like, just like most new, fresh adult married adults, we were, scrounging up. So when we saved up enough money to go on a real vacation, we went and rented a lake house on Lake Michigan, and we took the whole family up there. And the two littlest kids were just baby, like super young, a year old or less. And we went up there for a week, and it was cool, man. We hadn't been on a vacation in years, and it was our first family one together. So I think that stands out to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, I'll go with that.
Cool.
It was fun.
Nice.
Good time. Hunter 907 says, how can Fluff say that inventory management is quotes? That's kind of part of it, the enjoyment and the immersion, but can list storyline and lore as quote not important or part of immersion, end quote.
Well, I'm glad you asked. So I wasn't personally speaking for my own immersion. I was trying to put myself in the shoes of people that argue for inventory Tetris and how it is part of their immersion. And I get that argument. Is that my argument? No. So that would be my response.
Okay.
I try to be empathetic.
Oh, he's trying to play devil's advocate for the other team.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fluff says he doesn't like story or lore. I think he genuinely likes Tetris, inventory Tetris. I think he enjoys it.
I mean, I don't care. I just don't care. At the end of the day, if you want to have it, great. If you don't want to have it, it's not going to ruin my game.
I don't care either. It's like, what, one piece of loot I can't pick up? Okay. Big Unit 20 says, you have talked about getting your partners into gaming since being stuck at home. Have you tried couch co-op yet?
So I've tried couch co-op. We tried couch co-op together at BlizzCon. You, me, and Bloodshed. We tried couch co-op.
We did.
We were like, because we got told that the Diablo 3 changes from PTR were on the console, and we're like, oh shit! So all three of us, we run over to the console, waited in this crazy line of no one, and sat down.
Line of no one,
and sat down to play, and we're like, you know what, like. Let's see how far we can push, like with these new changes, right? Like let's really test this. And we played through like one rift, and we're like, oh hell no, like this is not happening.
It took us like 20 minutes to figure out how to fucking read the items. Like Bloodshed, I've played Switch since then, but Bloodshed literally is the only one of us that had played console. And Bloodshed couldn't remember how to scroll down the item to see the set bonuses. And so I'm not joking, man. It probably took us 5 to 10 minutes to figure out how to even look at the gear sets.
Yeah.
And then we're like divvying up who gets to post what on Twitter, right?
Yeah,
and Fluff got handled the bar belt. And then
thanks, guys.
Started the hates. Oh shit.
Well played, Bloodshed. Well played.
I haven't played couch co-op with, well, I tried to get PYV into gaming the first couple weeks of Corona lockdown. We played Detroit Become Human. I don't know if you guys have played that, or if you haven't, you can look it up. But it's a very like decision-based game. It's not a lot of thumb skill reaction timing based gameplay. And so we started playing through that, but she never played games at all, like ever. So even just like basic, like running around with the left stick, looking with the right stick was like foreign to her. And she got frustrated, and I think she was more embarrassed because she knows that I'm good at games. So for her to run around and like crash into the wall and stuff, I think she was just like, here, you play. And I kept like, no, it's cool. Like, you got to learn. But she's like, no, I don't want to. You just play. And so I ended up playing, and I let her make the decisions in the game, you know? So, but then she'd fuck up and make a bad decision. And I would be like, oh no, like you are, because as a gamer, you know, like this decision's gonna fuck us, you know, like please don't make. And she'd be like that one. I'm like, and she'd be like, okay, well, pick what you want then. I'm like, no, we're going with yours. And then, kill people. It was a fun game. It was a cool experience. Other than that, not really. She just didn't like even that. She was like, it was okay. No, that's just not her thing. She
Sure.
like to be honest, man. She plays games like Candy Crush. So that's like not specifically Candy Crush, but
Is
she
she
definitely
a
plays
Candy
mobile
Crush
games.
whale?
She's not. She doesn't throw money at them. Maybe $1 or two ever, like ever, not even frequently.
Right.
So, but she does enjoy mobile games. But usually, what she does is she's like watching one of her reality shows, and she'll just grind it. So,
Right on.
how about you? Any couch co-op? Any Animal Crossing couch co-op? I think it's single player, right?
You know, like she's gotten 1,000 good recommendations for Animal Crossing, but like she just doesn't want to pull the trigger. I don't necessarily blame her because
I bought it for my daughter because she was like, "Can I get this? Can I get this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Maybe I'll like it too." Right? So I bought it for her. She played it for a couple days. She loved it. She's like, "Oh, this is so cool, Dad. Check it out." And she starts to show me her island. I guess that's the thing on Animal Crossing is you build an island, right?
No idea.
And I don't know. And so I'm like, okay. And she's showing me her island, and I'm thinking, this is the game. This is lame as hell.
Wow.
Like, why? I don't get it.
Shaming
So
her
I was
island.
like, cool.
Thanks, Dad.
That was it for me, man. I'm like, okay, this is not something I am interested in playing. So,
but yeah, like despite that, she's not going to pick it up probably. I think like she struggles with the idea of sitting down and playing a video game all day, like that feeling of like, have I done enough in my life, like to catch up, and is all my stuff taken care of that I reward myself with like just playing a video game all day? Whereas me, it's like, it's just what I want to do, so I just fucking do it, right? Like,
yeah.
So there is that like guilt.
I have those feelings sometimes too. Like, I went through a week or like last week with the Corona stuff. Man, I played the shit out of WoW, and I'm just like, okay, this week a little bit, especially like yesterday and today. I was like, okay, my streaming room is destroyed. I need to do things. I need to like clean it up. I have gardenings, like my wife's been building like this garden in our backyard, and she like needed me to help do some things with that. So I made sure we got those done, and I bought a Ring camera to put outside so I can like, make sure to have recorded when people come and rob me, and like all these things, right? So and the Ring camera's been sitting on a shelf for like 3 months. It's like, put that up. Just all these little things, because I'm like, dude, I feel like a douchebag for playing so much video games. But it's what I like, man.
Right.
I definitely. Do you feel addicted? I feel addicted sometimes.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt.
I really feel
there's no question.
like I genuinely I'll step back and I'll be like, man, like if this were a drug, I would be an addict. I would be classified as a person who has a crack addiction or alcoholism or something. Like totally. I have video gameism 100%.
Yeah. I think that's like one of the few ways to like fulfill that adrenaline that I feel like I'm definitely addicted to outside of doing something that's like actually dangerous to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, socially, I guess it's dangerous to us, but
well, I guess.
To me, it's like at times I'm like, man, am I playing too much games? Is my wife still happy? Like, because I play a lot of games, you know what I mean? Or like, I play a lot of games. Do I spend enough time with my kids? Are they still?
Yeah, I mean, I get that one. I get that one.
Are they still cool?
Right.
But
probably not.
So I try to like get them addicted to games so we can play games together, because then I'm spending time with them, but still have my crack. I don't know, man. It definitely at times I step back. I'm like, wait a minute, are these good choices? I don't know.
But to go back to the original question, I like me and Giggles, or me and my girlfriend, we've played plenty of games together. Hasn't always gone great. She is a very competitive person.
Yeah.
And she just assumes, I don't know what it is, logic, but like, she sees me play and she's like, well, I just automatically assumed to be able to play at that level. It's like she's really good at running, right? And so if I watched her run, I should just expect to like go out and be able to run a half marathon because she can do it so well. So if by watching, I should just know how to do it. So there's that like frustration of like when she can't do what I do. And that kind of leads to like not great discussions and maybe some arguments and bickering. So it's just never like great.
Some good interactions.
Yeah. So I try to steer clear of it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I wouldn't be opposed. I'm okay actually to hit the question from a different angle, I guess. I'm okay that my wife doesn't like gaming.
Yeah,
I think
totally.
it's a great counterbalance to me because it is definitely an addiction for me. And if I start getting too crazy addicted, she's a good check to be like, hey, uh, you're like going crazy hard. You need to back up a little bit. And I'm like, okay, cool. I know if she checks me, then I'm way over the line because for her to say something means I've like been pretty bad. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So usually if she says something, I got to be like, all right, hold on. Let me cut my hours back, you know?
Yeah.
Hex says you got offered $1 million, but to collect, you have to sleep with the main character of the last TV show you watched. Who is it, and would you do it? The last TV show I watched, it was either one of two shows. I can't remember. It was either Wild and Out, which has Nick Cannon as the main co-host, I suppose, or it was Ridiculousness. I'm not sure which one, which has Rob Dyrdek. But Chanel West Coast is also on Ridiculousness. So does she count as a
No,
main character?
he's not the main character.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay. Damn it.
So yeah. Oof.
Either way, I'm gonna say no.
What? $1 million?
Not for $1 million.
That's easy.
I wouldn't. No, dude. You touch Nick Cannon's junk for $1 million?
Fuck yeah, I would.
Let him bag you.
How do you want me to do it? Where do we go? Let's go. For me, it's the HBO series Barry. So
Barry,
whoever that guy is, what's his name? I don't know.
I don't even know what that. I gotta look this one up. I don't even know who that is.
We gotta do it. Let's do the thing.
I'm looking at it right now. So you'd hook Barry up?
Yep.
Oh, really? Oh, that's the dude from.
Yeah, he's a funny guy.
Yeah, what's he from?
SNL.
Bill Hader.
Bill Hader. Yeah, there you go.
Hader. Yeah, something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got a bone Bill Hader for $1 million. Yeah, let's do it. Pull the trigger, man. $1 million.
Cool.
You know what I could do with that?
Is that show good? What did you think of the show?
It's unique.
I
enjoyed season 1.
Is it worth watching?
Yeah, I'd say. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Dirty Nap says, what is something unrealistic that you often see in movies that annoys the hell out of you?
Oh man. One of the number one things.
Mine's easy as hell.
Yeah.
Mine's
Go ahead.
so easy.
Go ahead.
Mine is when they'll have a hacker come on and he like instantly just fucking hacks whatever. They're like, because as being in, computer enterprises for my day job, like I have a grasp on these things. And it's like, the guy's like, oh, hold on. We need to get this door open. Let me hack their systems. And he's like, done. And then the door opens and you're like,
it's like a command prompt.
It does not fucking work like that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Unless he did all the work beforehand and he just like got right back in the back door he created for himself. Right. Like,
yeah, it was just like, instantly. Like when they hack something in like minutes, it's just like, dude, it just doesn't work like that.
Right. Okay. It's always funny to watch like the text that shows on like their command line of like, like routing. Okay.
Yeah. You know what's really funny is like they had this army commercial for a while, and this army commercial was like trying to recruit for cybersecurity.
Yeah.
And it like had these bad guys, things. And then in this army commercial, it showed a person like hacking, and they had like this big green matrix style command prompt, with like all this text. And I'm like, I wonder what the fuck that says. So I paused it one day and I actually like read their command line prompt, and it was like the most generic, basic stuff. I can't even remember now what it was, but it was like, running trace to IP something. And it was just like extremely generic. Like, you guys didn't even get any good code on the screen for this commercial,
Right. One of the things that drives me fucking nuts is like high-speed chase. Someone's on a motorcycle. They're taking a phone call and like they're going down like 100 miles an hour and they're like just talking like normal on his fucking cell phone. Like, you can't hear shit after like 50 miles an hour. It's like, right? Like there's nothing. And there's like having a conversation, or like they'll talk to the person on the back, like flying. Like you can't hear a thing.
Hold on tight, we're about to jump. And you're like, they'd be like, what?
And then you just die. Yeah.
And you're just dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about it. Yeah. Also, the do the headset things in the movies, like where they're talking to home base. They're always talking to home base. Like, okay, go up the steps to the left. You're going to see a door. There's going to be entrance. And you're like, dude, what wireless device do you have in this guy's ear that transmits like 50 miles?
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can see too. And it does HD video.
Yeah.
Damn. Can we get some of these for stream? That's it, man. That's all the questions we had this week. If you guys want to submit the questions, drop them in our Discords, or you can tweet them at us on Twitters. Check out the Patreon. There's some cool rewards there, especially the exclusive content for the pre-podcast shows.
Yeah.
That's about it, man. Got anything else you want to hit up before we get out? Okay.
I got Awakener 8 to kill again.
Awakener 8 again?
Yeah.
Good luck on the loot.
Farm, dude. Thanks, man.
Farm them up. If you want to catch more of me, you can catch me everywhere. Twitter's, Twitch, YouTube, at ThaPChild.
Yeah. And I'm Lord_Fluffy. Double those underscores on the Twitter. We'll see you boys next week for episode 100.
Big 100 in the house.
Insane. Wow.
All right, guys.
The value. I'll see you guys next week.